Hello, hopefully you can hear me. Welcome to episode 2 of Miniature Realms Irregular Ramble, which is so irregular that there's one for a second week in a row. I hadn't planned this one, but there was a bit of a follow-up to last week's topic of me panicking about getting an army done for the end of the month. And I had a bit of an answer, a bit of solution. I'm well underway, so if someone who's watching is able to let me know that they can hear me okay, so I know that my microphone is working and everything's going okay, and then I'll carry on rambling. So it's like Steve Harbour's in. So Steve, can you just reply and let me know that you can hear me okay? Give me a thumbs up or something. Or anyone else that's in. Otherwise, I'm just going to go ahead and assume you can all hear me anyway. We look like we're right. All my levels seem okay. Everything good. Cheers, Steve. Right then, so I'll carry on rambling. So for those of you that were around last week will know that I was panicking a little bit about painting my Bretonias for the end of the month. On Good Friday, I'm up at Warhammer World, meeting up with Jordan from Jordan Sorcery, playing a game. He's got a lot of painting to do as well, but that's a different story. And then hopefully playing a game with Val from Square Based as well. And my Bretonians were looking not too ready. And I was getting a bit stressed about doing it. And I remember doing the stream last week and I showed off some cool things. I showed off the new Dark Oath starters coming for Age of Sigmar soon. And I got my mind whirring around about, would that be something I'd like to do in the future? Obviously that's not out yet, so that wasn't an option as such. But I started thinking about, could I do something else? Could I do a new army ready by the end of the month? Which is crazy because I've still got to paint it, but could I choose something that's quicker to paint, maybe a slightly lower model count, and my Brets are just a bit of a pain for it really. There's lots of different colours involved, lots of liveries and things to do, and it's just a bit fiddly. I needed something a little bit more straightforward. So I came up with a bit of an idea. So there's been lots of hints over the course of the week. There's a hint on the thumbnail. So there's a couple of these lovely Slaves to Darkness Vanguard sets, and I've had these for a while. Dark Oath. They were going to be part of that Marauder idea, and I picked up the boring box, I'm afraid, but the Spire Tyrants. There's lots of Marauder-like looking stuff in Warcry or has been out for AOS. So I thought they would make some Marauders. Picked up a Realm Gore Ritualist as well. And you can make an army out of that, plus some hounds. So let's have a little look at what I've done. And basically this is my solution, is to speed paint this army in 2 weeks, which is a good fun thing to do anyway. I'm recording a video as I go, so it should make quite a fun video to put out at some point, but then I'm also talking about it now, so it's giving me content, which is something I'm going to struggle balancing content and personal hobby. Hopefully it'll give me an army that's 2,000 points at the end of it, one that I can expand with the new Dark Oath when it comes out and have lots more Marauders, and I really like that Marauder theme. I'll talk about that a bit as we go on tonight. So let's have a little look at what I had planned. So obviously this was last week. I ended up showing off the Dark Oath thing as part of the news really, and I didn't at that point make a connection between the issue I had and that, and then basically that's what I've just shown you. So 2 of the Vanguard sets where recommended retail are about £85. You can get them for, I think I found them at 62 or something is the cheapest you can get them for. And then you've got your Dark Oath, which are out of stock pretty much everywhere at the moment, but I already had those. Spy Tyrants around the 30 mark, but even then you're still looking under £200 for a whole army, and it's really quite affordable because of the iOS starter boxes. So those 2 sets I showed you, some wolves that I've got, hounds sorry, I've got on the way, they're only 20 quid anyway, and the Realm Gore Ritualist. And it makes an army, and one that's fairly low model count, fairly straightforward to paint. The Marauders will be a little bit more complicated, but I've made a really good start on those already, and I'll show you what I've done in a moment. So let's have a little look at my list. Now, I am not a a super rules-minded person, so those of you out there who are, might be picking holes in this already. I might have even made mistakes. But it was partly based around doing something that's easy to paint and affordable I could make from those boxes, not just picking the list from scratch and then purchasing the miniatures. But I think it was a good bit of fun. So we got a Chaos Lord who's going on a steed, and he's going to go in a unit of knights. So those 2 Vanguard boxes, I should just show you those Vanguard boxes. You get 2 chariots in there. You've got 5 knights. You've got 10 Chaos Warriors. And you've got a couple of characters as well, a couple of champions, which I won't end up using both, or I might use one as a conversion. So Chaos Lord, with lots of stuff. I won't read it all. You could probably read it on the screen yourself, but that might be a little bit boring. But lots of bits and bobs on there. And Aspiring Champion, he's going to be the standard, and he will go on foot in the unit of Chaos Warriors. A Sorcerer Lord and an Exalted Sorcerer, so a level 4 and a level 2. The level 4, I'll be using that Ramble Ritualist. The level 2, actually use one of the miniatures from the Dark Oath set. I'll show you that later, but there's something called a God Speaker in there, which looks like a little mage type thing. I don't really do AOS, so I don't know what her abilities are supposed to be, but it's perfect to use for that. And then we've got a unit of 20 Chaos Warriors, so a big block. They'll go in 3 ranks of 7 with the BSB in there. 24 Chaos Marauders. They're going 6 wide, 4 ranks deep. And again, one of the abilities that my level 2 has got, she looks kind of Marauder or Norse-ish, is that she can master mortals. So people, she's within command range of them, her leadership range, then they can use on her leadership and things. So she's a bit of a buff, but it also kind of fits. I quite like that. Then there's 9 Chaos Knights, and the Lord's going to go in that, so a big heavy block of knights to cause lots of damage, and then a little chaff unit of 5 Chaos Warhounds, and then we got a Chaos Chariot and a Gore Beast Chariot. So that's pretty much using every single one of the miniatures and making use of a unit filler in the Marauders as well. I'm quite pumped to do it, actually. I was really stressed about getting the army done. This feels achievable. And I've given myself some sort of time periods to get things finished by. The Marauders are going to be the hardest, just because of the amount of sort of flesh and things I have to paint. So my goal is to get those finished, and maybe the 2 characters, the magician, the sorcerer characters, by the end of this week, by the end of Sunday evening. And then I'll do all the nights the following week, and that will leave me the week of Easter, of which my son's birthday as well. But that will leave me time to get a couple of chariots done, I think. That's the plan. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think it looks pretty good. I'm going to quickly catch up with the chat now and see who's in. So we've got Steve Harbour, Little Legions, Andy C, John Clarkey, Steve, Adrian K, Wrath and Ruin, and John Foster at the moment. Steve, surely as a YouTuber, you need to do an army 24-hour challenge. I would love to do something like that, and I may well do that at some point. But if I ever do something like that, it's going to be when the kids are away or something like that. I've got the place to myself, because that would just be impossible to do with kids running around and family life and things. But might be something that's fun to do at one point, whether it's AOS or 40k, or easier to get that done than old world. I'm not sure. Hi Ben, and hi Gary. Right, let me go back to that little list of things again. So that's the army list. And then I started building the Marauders this week. So using those 2 kits, the Dark Oath Scavengers and the Spire Tyrants. Got my movement trays in order, but I didn't have the right size here. And the reason there's pictures because I started painting them, and I wanted to show what I've been up to. And the plan will be, once I've talked you through that tonight, I'm going to do a little bit of building, and we can carry on chatting, and hopefully we'll do about an hour or so, and we'll see how we go. And you guys can join in and tell me that my list is awful and my idea is awful and all the rest of it, but it looks good fun. So using the mixture of the 2, the Spire Tyrants and the Dark Oath Savages, was quite good fun actually. There's lots of really nice sculpts in there. They're very Marauder stroke Norse-ish feel, which is, you know, something I really wanted to go for. And I've got different miniatures I like from both. There's a unit filler in there which you'll see a better picture of at the moment. I had to kit pash the banner and the musician in there as well, because they don't come with those bits, and I needed them. You can see from the back of the unit. Now obviously they're quite chunky models because they're Age of Sigmar, but they do rank up. They rank up better than a lot of stuff used to on 20s. I'm sure that the old Warriors of Chaos, the old Marauders, when they bring them back, which is pretty clearly what they're going to do, looking at all the rule books and things, will easily fit on 25s, there'll be no issue. But I'm not a huge fan of those sculpts, so I've probably never used them anyway, and I've always migrated to these. But there we go. I had to make some shields for a lot of them. I've gone with hand weapons and shields. Some of them have got some two-handed weapons and things, but there's a shield on there anyway, and the majority looks like that. So those are old Goblin shields from the 4th Ed box set. I had quite a few of them, so I filed off the front a bit, used some blue tack. That's not my thumbprint in the picture. That's actually a texture that I rolled on from one of my files. And we'll see what that looks like when it's painted up. Hopefully it still doesn't look like a thumbprint. And then I made a unit filler. I thought it was only fair to use some of the massive stash of old hammer that I bought a tin of earlier, well, last month or so, for about £100. I've been selling bits on eBay, but I've been kept most of the dwarves, and these are Perry's Norse dwarves. And I've circled the 3 that I've made into a little unit filler that will go in the centre of the unit there. And I thought, how cool would it be to have them in a unit of Marauders? The Spy Tyrant kit comes with a little Chaos Dwarf anyway, which is quite cool. So there's 4 Norse Dwarves in that Marauders unit, but I thought that was a good bit of fun. And nice to get some classic miniatures in. And then the banner, I extended the banner on the Bestigor. So just trimmed it off, cut the spiky ball off the end, and then I used the lantern banner from the old Free Company kit, extended it, and then stuck the spiky ball back on the end. And then that's just a bit of masking tape, which someone was asking about in the Discord the other day, for airbrushing and things like that. So it's just painting masking tape. I cut it out, stuck it on, and it's all painted over with super glue. And it makes it really, really hard. And I got that tip actually from Peachy when he was on the painting phase. He used it to make some tabards, and I've used it myself since. Used it on the Mordheim warband I made, and it just works really well. Used it on the warrior piece. So that's cool. I'm going to paint that up as kind of skin, which again you'll see a little bit of that later on. Musician, I cut the sort of flail out of this guy's hand and used a Bretonian Knights of the Realm bugle, but I've cut it up so it looks like it's probably cut out of sort of a horn or something like that, and put some holes in the little banner thing that's hanging off the bottom of it to make it look suitable. Again, another shield on the back, and then what do we got after that? Then we move on to the characters. So this is that what's her name again? The Godspeaker. You're actually getting your Dark Oath Savages Warcry kit. I didn't know she was in there. I don't know why. I looked at the other models. I think I looked at the not Conan models, and they were the ones that really took my eye. I didn't realise she was in there until I started building, and I was like, brilliant. There's my level 2 sorted. And she's standing on a stone that comes with the Realm Gore Ritualist. But I think she looks pretty cool, and really fits in with the theme of being from the same tribe, and that's what I wanted the sort of the theme of the army to be. And going forward, I think when the new AOS stuff comes out, I will probably buy that and expand it so I can run the army as pretty much all Norse, all Marauder style, with maybe just your general is your Chaos Warrior. That's partly inspired by something Jordan Sorcery said he wanted to do himself. I think his was more beasts based, but with the old school way of doing it, when there's just one warrior leading it all. I might stick with one warrior in a chariot or as the Lord, or maybe still in the unit of knights or something to give them some punch, but maybe go all Marauders for the rest of it, which would be quite cool. But I really like that model, and I think that's going to be fun to paint. Comes out well. And then we have the Realm Gore Ritualist from Age of Sigmar, which again I knew nothing about, but felt tribal enough. And I wanted to give her she's level 4, I wanted to give her a flying carpet. She won't be in the unit, so I wanted her to be mobile. I noticed she was on that little sort of disc of concrete, and I wondered when I saw the kit whether I could cut it off. Well, it's a separate part anyway, so the existing bit was, you've seen in the previous miniature, it's been used to stand on, and then she just sort of perches off the edge there a little bit. I maybe could have tried to convert her so she was all the way on, but her foot is moulded to the edge, so I just thought, full speed, I've got to get this done quickly just to do it like that. But yeah, let me know what you think of them. I'm quite happy with them, but always happy with feedback on those. But I think they make a nice Marauder unit and 2 interesting sorcerer models. I'm gonna little catch up on the chat, and then we'll look at the bit of painting I've done. So Ben was having put a bunch of Bretonians on the newer bases. I think they would have been very tight on 20mm bases. Glad the Chaos guys are ranking it well for you. Yeah, it was a nightmare. Those of us who were around playing in older editions, 20mm bases, apart from goblins and some of the older dwarves, they ranked up fine. It's always been a bit of a nightmare. Anyone that has their arms sticking out in any way whatsoever, there's been issues with it. And I'd say with those, there are some positions some miniatures won't go in. I haven't had to go as far as numbering them. I think there are multiple layouts I can do, but there are some models where the weapon overhangs a bit, but it's not too bad. I've had more problems, a lot more problems with them. I'm hoping that the knights will be okay. I've painted one with the new Dark Oath Chaos Warriors. Slave to Darkness Chaos Warriors for a tutorial, which many of you will have seen, and that fitted on a 30mm, but it's obviously 1 miniature. I've not tried to rank them up, so I can't imagine it's going to be any worse than those. Painting and super glue, bad memories. My classic Chaos Warriors are a struggle to rank even on 25s. So there we go. So maybe I will have issues, Andy. Maybe I will. That looks sweet. Cheers, Raph and Ryan. All looking great. Good. Right. Let's have a look at what I've done today. So I've done a little bit of painting. So we'll go over to the other camera, to desk cam, the other side of the, the other side. I got to swing around. Quick slurp of my tea. Is anyone drinking anything nice tonight, or is everyone on the midweek boring stuff? So here we are, all ranked up. So the way I decided would be the quickest way to get these done was ignore the white zenithal and dry brush and underpainting that I do a lot, because that will require me to brush paint on lots and lots of flesh glazes and things, and I'm going to be doing that to a certain extent, but it would have then required an awful lot of highlighting afterwards. So I decided to go with the airbrush and almost do zenithal style pre-painting with it. And I've done this method before on a Goblin Town army for Middle Earth as a speed paint. Did that very, very quickly, and I've used it for other things as well, and it does work. So we'll move these to the side for a moment, the characters, but hopefully you can see. So I'm looking at the wrong camera here. So I've gone with 2 different sort of sets of tones. I've used the Noctura range from Vallejo. If you guys are ever able to get hold of this stuff, it's fantastic, really beautiful paint ranges. They're just hard to get hold of, and you tend to be able to only buy them as sets. But I really, really love them. So they're made by Vallejo. It's a sort of specific set. They do 2 skin sets I know of. There's a dead set as well, which is sort of more purples and greens and things. But for one set, I used the Burn Flesh base. That's pretty much, in fact, I used it for both of them. Burn Flesh as a base. And then one, I used Base Flesh as the next layer. The other one, I used Reddish. And then the Base Flesh, I used Natural Flesh. And then the Reddish Flesh, I used Medium Flesh. And then with the Fairy Flesh, which you'll have seen in videos before, I went back in on both of them. So they may end up looking fairly similar. I just wanted there to be at least 2 tones of flesh. I appreciate that's all Caucasian style, but again, trying to keep it simple. Hopefully you can see on the camera. I know the lighting's not quite as good, but I've left a lot of shadow in there. There's multiple tones already. And because I've oversprayed deliberately onto the clothing a lot, the plan is to go in and dry brush and overbrush on the leather areas. And then I can use contrast the way I often do, because the flesh colours are light enough. And then when it comes back to the skin again, I'll just very, very lightly glaze in the shadows and things, a bit like I do when I add in the gloomy violet or the deep purple on my sort of current go-to skin method. And I think it should save me an awful lot of time. I mean, I could paint all the metals in now and all of the leather work and stuff, and you know, they would look fairly striking already. I just want to tie them in and tighten it up a little bit. This guy, I've actually used some of the similar colours. I will use more browns on him when I go into it, and as you can see, I've already started using the flesh colours on that banner. I'm going to make it look like it's some kind of skin or hide or something like that. I think you could probably just see the two different skin tones. I don't know if the colour shows up enough on the live stream, but this is the kind of the browner side, the natural flesh side. This is the slightly pinker side that you get from the reddish and medium side. So all that done today, and all that airbrushing took me an hour, which was just super quick. I did as well. You've noticed the red on the shield, and I had the airbrush out. I went in with two reds. I went in with gory red, Game Air, and then from the same noctua arranged, I reused some Sanctuary red as well. A really, really nice bright red, and I'm not going to go too much lighter on those. I want them to look quite dull. And I just, while I had the airbrush out, I wanted to do all my airbrushing on this unit in one go. So next stage will be some dry brushing, and then I'll start going in back with the normal speed paints, contrast, all the rest of it, and glazing in. And then you've got these guys, I've just done the same thing really. So there's a little bit of overspray to tidy up, but it's easier with characters. You've not got the nice red cape on this one. But again, I just think I've got a nice place to start with. This one's a little bit whiter there, but I don't mind spending a little bit more time working on the characters. And hopefully I can get all of that done this week. That's the plan anyway. How's the chat going on? Have a little look. All looking good. Coca-Cola, Hobgoblin later though. I'm off tomorrow. Oh, I wish. I'm trying to be healthier at the moment, so I'm not drinking much beer. Need to lose weight. The perils of being middle-aged, eh? But I still have my wine at the weekend, and it's not quite as bad as beer. Work night, unfortunately. So for tea, yeah, plain boiling water, yeah, 6 a.m. for you. If you were, to be honest, Ben, I would be very, very worried if you said you were on the beers at what is 6 a.m. on a Thursday morning for you. Yeah, that wouldn't be a good way to start your working day, would it? I'm not sure that would go too well when you arrive. Going too well when you arrive. So what I'm going to do is open up these and start playing around really, which isn't the most interesting thing for you guys to watch, but hey ho. And you can hear me try not to swear when I find that things are bigger than I thought, and work out what to do with it all really. I've got a lot of bases. I've got some chariot bases on the way, because obviously everything's rounds and ovals in here. I had all the other bases I needed, so maybe I'll start trimming off a chariot or something like that. So we've got to definitely make one gore beast. I've got to make one with a horse. And then we've got all of the knights. These are lovely kits. I haven't seen these on sprue before. I've seen lots of pictures and things. I just hope they're not so big they don't rank up. What we will find out. If they are, then we're going to have to do some crafty balancing of things on rocks to change the heights to make them work. But I will make it work. It's whether I can get it all painted. I'm kind of hoping, now I'm not going to be able to do it, I was hoping that the capes on these I was able to leave off until I'd painted the rest, but they've got the shoulders and arms on, so that it's not going to work at all, which isn't too bad. I might use some masking fluid on. I went for black on my tutorial, but I think I'm going to go pure metallic on these, and then I'll just have to paint back in with the others and then use contrast. But if I go all metallic, that will really speed things up. Again, I'll be able to do the airbrushing stage of it super quick. Instead, I go full zenithal as normal, and then paint in the metals. I'll have to work out which is going to be quicker, which has got the most benefit from it. Again, I don't think they're going to be too hard. I think the warriors are going to be fairly easy to do. The things I've got concerns about are whether the marauders take a lot longer than I expected, or whether the knights end up being super complicated as well because of the horses. But there's so much metal and armor and barding on these. I just looking at these and thinking that's a spray can job, really easy. And it's just the capes I'm going to have to go back and pick out, and the tiny bit of horse flesh that's showing. The rest of it is just a sea of metal, which just made for fast painting. Whereas my Bretts with the liveries and things, and they're just going to be a bit of a nightmare. So what shall I build? What shall I start building? Shall I go for a chariot? Shall I start building these fantastic knights? I think I'm not going to do the standard Chaos Warriors. I'm going to go something I haven't built before. First person that replies and tells me what I build, I will go and do it, and I'll have a slurp of tea while I'm waiting. After Watershed. Yeah, well, not on internet land, unfortunately. Chariot, there we go. Oh, no, the first person was Ben. Knights, so knights. Right, let me find all my sprues with horses. I doubt I'm going to get an awful lot done tonight while I'm chatting away, but why not? Why not have a go and make a start? Trick now is not to distract myself when I've got normal work to do tomorrow. I see the unit staring at me on the table. And the joys of painting for a living is sometimes, and I'm pretty good, but sometimes your own project sitting there, especially if it's one that you're really engaged for, can be slightly distracting. Yeah, more people are saying chariots. Unfortunately, Ben was there first with knights. Right. Well, I say unfortunately for the people who are saying chariots. I might end up regretting it as well. Right. So is anyone hobbying tonight? And if so, what are you working on? Right. I used to love the days where you could just clip everything off a sprue and clean it up and then stick it together. But these days, if you try that, you get in all kinds of trouble. So instructions are a must. Happy to switch to chariots. Either would be great, Ben. Don't do this to me. What's going to be easier? What's going to be easier? I might start with chariot just because I might finish one thing. The peer pressure, eh? Right then, where is the chariot instructions? Where are the chariot instructions? Here we go. This is the only model out of these I think I've built before, way back in 8th edition, because I believe it's the same miniature. Does it tell me by the, 2012 is the date on the frame. I think that gives it away a little bit. Got different front options. I prefer this one. So, Gary, 10mm Romans from the Cromarty Forge. They're lovely stuff. All the stuff Cromarty Forge do are lovely. Are they ones they print for you, don't they, Cromarty Forge? But they do files as well. No, are they something you printed yourself, Gary, or is that something you've ordered from them directly? And we got Andy basing a couple of 15mm T55s. Part of his March pledge, and then Ultramarine Aggressors. I need to update my pledge later. I knew I was going to, but I wanted to wait for this stream to announce this army. So my pledge is still going to be paint a whole army by the end of the month. It's just going to be the army I do has now changed. Basing Berivians, Steve Harbour. LG just painting some Perry French Limber teams. So I don't know if everyone's seen it. Hello Alex, how you doing, mate? Popping in to say hello. Well, you've missed all me rabbiting about what I'm doing, and now it's just me chatting while building a Chaos Chariot, which is part of what I'm doing, funnily enough. Rushing to get an army ready for the end of the month. How are you finding all of the epic stuff, Alex? So has anyone seen, it was shared in the Discord yesterday, there's the new game by Grafenau, the very Mordheim-esque looking game. It looks quite interesting. Jared, 2nd edition Chaos Space Marines. Oh wow. It's me just trimming stuff off here. I can't. There's me asking people if they've seen something and not even giving you the name of it. Let me check my emails and then I can see if I deleted it or not. Grafenau Games. New game announcement. Yeah, Guards of Traitor's Toll. Does anyone see that? I know someone shared it in the Discord. Just thought it looked really. Oh, not the camera flying. Sorry about that. We end up going upside down. The camera's gonna go upside down in a second because I, like a fool, knocked it. So Guards of the bustling city of Traitor's Toll is home to a multitude of merchants and travellers, buskers and charlatans, sorcerers and scholars, not to mention, hidden among them, pickpockets, thieves, smugglers and worse. The task of keeping the citizens safe, catching wrongdoers and dealing out justice falls to the city guard. Gameplay is semi-cooperative, which sounds really interesting. Both players control a guard captain and a patrol of 5 guardsmen who must deal with many hidden challenges amongst the crowds. It just sounds interesting, and coming from Grafenau and Graham Davey and the stuff we did with 0 to 100 hours, I can imagine the game will be quite different and quite unusual, and may well interest people with Mordheim warbands or don't have it but like that kind of thing. Oh, we've gone back upside down again. Come on, camera, do your stuff. Sorry about that. Please do not turn your electronic devices upside down. So, Alex, Storm of Steel, pretty good. Once I got in the swing of them, been painting another battalion of French tonight, in fact. Yeah, it's when you get on a roll, they're really, really good. When you stop, which I have done for now, doing other things, the thought of getting back into them with them being so many is a little bit daunting. But I've squared that away mentally by telling myself that epic Napoleonic army is armies are the only ones I'm going to have for life, and I will just slowly plug away at them and return to them and return to them. I love the scale and the way they look, regardless of what system I end up using with them. I don't think someone else is going to do a similar scale in plastic, so I don't see me wanting to go somewhere else for the miniatures. But yeah, they are good to paint when you've got momentum, but oh my god, when you stop, the thought of going back to them is quite scary. Blood Red Rust, yeah. Looks promising, yes. Paul's Patreon, hello. Duke of Buckingham's written you for me tonight. All Perry miniatures from Ruckus, very, very nice. Is Ruckus the skirmish version that's coming out soon? The one that's going to be in Wargames Illustrated, because I need to pick that up. Using Martin's Seventh Sons Ragged Staff minis for mine, I think. Ben's painting some men-at-arms. Thought you were, some of you are in Osrafenruin, but I'd rather be there. I'm sure it'd be a lot warmer. What's the weather like in Brisbane at 6 AM, Ben? Yeah, you need to break them. I agree to a certain extent, Alex, you need to break them up. But I suppose we're all different in the way we motivate ourselves. I'm very much, I need to get on with the project. And when I stop the project, sometimes the momentum, if I lose momentum is the issue for me. And I find it hard to go back to it. I used to do massive batches of miniatures because I hate repeating a process. So if I painted 5 miniatures to completion, but I had another 35 to do in a unit, I really struggle to motivate myself to go back and do it. So the only way I can do it is to do a really big batch and complete all of the colour for one section and all of the next section, and just do it stage by stage all the way through. And that way it's really depressing for a very long time, but right to the end, the last 20% or so, you really see it coming together and the whole unit coming together, and that gives me a sort of the drive to finish it. But that's not going to work for everyone. I appreciate I'm probably unusual in that. Most people will find that a bit much and prefer to do small batches. Maybe that's because of the day job. That's come over from that, because it's the most time efficient way of doing it, and I have to do it like that for work. Maybe that's why I've got in the habit of doing that. Only 22 at the moment. You know, it is what, 6 AM or 6:30, whatever it is there. So sounds quite pleasant. I imagine it will get up to something a lot less pleasant later in today. All right then. This is interesting, building while talking. It's not something I normally do unless it's around the kids. So I'm probably going to do something wrong, which I already am without paying attention properly. What are we doing? Boo, boo, boo. I did have it right. There we go. Having just built all those Spire Tyrants and the Dark Oath, they were lovely, lovely kits. They went together so well. Not many mould lines, but also the connection points and things were quite good. Some of the more recent models I've done, sometimes the connection points almost seem to be abstract. It's really hard to find out where things go. There's no discernible plug. I think that's the new style. I know the Dark Oath have been out for a little while, but it seems to be a happy medium between a proper plug or a hole where you stick something, but then also it's easy to work out what angle the arm goes on, and things like that. When I built the Pegasus, the new character heroes for the Brets, it was a nightmare. Just certain parts of it, especially the reins and things like that. I build a lot of models, so I shouldn't find it a challenge, but even I was thinking, this is design going a little bit crazy there, almost over design. I said don't really do projects, just paint one as you want. Yeah. I think but you're more productive than I am getting things done for yourself. You definitely seem to produce armies quicker than I produce things. I get very easily distracted by life as well as work. I need to trim some more bits now. This is not the way I normally do it, but I'm definitely distracted by reading the chat as we go. So who thinks I'm going to manage to achieve this, or do you think it's going to be another failure? What's people's guesses? I'm still quite confident at the moment, but those of you that have been following the channel for a while and seen me start lots of projects and do lots of things may be thinking, nah, he's not going to do it. Bone Dragon was horrible. I haven't done that yet, and it's saving it for a tutorial, but yeah, it looks complicated. I don't mind complicated, but it's the time. I want something that I don't, when there's no time pressure, I'm happy to build stuff, but when I want to get stuff done and start painting, it can be a little bit frustrating. I'm going to start doing some more hobby at my dining table when the kids are playing around on Saturday, and I've got something arrived yesterday, something very cool. I can't show you right now, but there'll be a short coming out maybe tomorrow or Saturday for it, and then there will be a video which it features in. But basically, it's a bit of a mobile hobby tool, so to speak, a case that I'm going to be using not only in the house to move my stuff downstairs. I think I've said before, so I'm repeating myself, but my office, I'm very lucky to have this office to work in, but it's on the top floor of a 3-story house, so I can't sit up here and work when I'm parenting. I know my boys don't need me watching over them all the time, but I can't have them down 2 floors downstairs watching the telly or playing when I'm set up here. So, and because I got so spoiled and used to good lighting and things, I just ended up not hobbying in the way most people do hobby, where a lot of people do hobby, which is at the kitchen table. So I needed something that was easy to do, and I've got all the components of that now. So I'll be looking forward to trying that out. So I'll be hopefully get some more work done this weekend, and I haven't built all this stuff by then. Over the weekend, I need to get the rest of this stuff built and primed at least, so I can get painting. And I'm losing track again of what I'm supposed to be doing. So I've chosen those. I've chosen the wheels. We need to choose the little things that go on the side. Little banner things. So the choice is, do I leave some of these little bits off? Don't like too many little faffy bits on it, and you've got to paint them as well, haven't you? Confidence. Stick a quid in the pot and you'll do it. Yeah. You need to back me. I'm trying to, part of the reason I'm talking about it online as well is to put the pressure on myself so I can't make any excuse, because that will help a little bit. Right then, where are we up to? Got enough more bits than I need. I think if I get to the end of this week and I've got everything built and primed and I've finished that Marauder unit, I will feel in a good place. That the most tricky unit to paint is done and out of the way, and that's going to be an if. I've got my video for Friday is pretty much done, because it was the one that should have been out last week, and it's the Marienburg landship. So look out for that on Friday. It's a sort of tutorial, but it's more of a how I paint rather than every single stage, because it's such a big project. That's Jordan Sorcery's own landship that I've painted for him. So that'll be a fun video, and I'll talk a little bit about the book that it came in, a little bit about the rules and stuff as well as part of the video. So I think that's a little bit of fun. And then depending how things go, there might be a video on Sunday as well, which explores some of the new kit I was talking about, and just about hobbying in general when you're busy, and solutions for it and things. Something I've been meaning to do for a while, but that's a maybe. And then what I really want to do next week on Tuesday or Wednesday is get out the first tutorial for Panzer, and I've got the tanks that Warlord Games very kindly sent me for it. So I need to do the first tutorial of it. It looks like it'll probably be a Cromwell. So I just haven't decided. I'm torn between whether to expand my North Africa stuff or go to late war Europe, which feels like is what I should do for that. I think that's what most people will do. And then if I do, which I haven't even looked at what decals you get in the set with the Cromwells. I don't know which tank regiment and things to go for. Yes, well, yeah, Wrath definitely needs to do his pledge as well. I mean, that'll be, if we both manage to do these, I think that's some serious army completion over the course of this month. I hope so. That side or that side. Go on as well as I thought it would, and it's clearly just me. Is that it? Seems a bit basic. Well, it is what it is. Ooh, that's loads of glue. Luckily that's underneath. Will I post some progress? Yes, absolutely. I was very tempted to do some already, Andy, but I wanted to sort of, it's not really a reveal because it's not that exciting, but I wanted to save it for tonight, the first part. But yes, now I will definitely be posting pictures in the Discord, and I may even do the odd little short during the week as well. But I think the Discord, you guys in the Discord will see progress first, and it keeps me going. And if you don't hear from me, put pressure on me, ask me when my stuff is. But yeah, don't expect a finished unit of Marauders probably till sort of hopefully Sunday evening or something like that. I'm hoping that gives me enough time to sort of start painting in the other little bits. But we will see. So Wrath 16 models down, 20 nearly done, still about 10 behind schedule. That's not too bad though. It's not too bad. Even if you, have you set the, you've probably said already and I've probably missed it, have you set your deadline because you need them done for a particular game or something, or is it just because you've set yourself the fun target of doing it? Right, where are we up to now? It wants me to build the men. I'm not going to build the men just yet. Should say, is anyone is around Nottingham, and I put Warhammer World on Good Friday. I will be there, barring disaster. With this hopefully painted army to play a game or two, so do pop in and say hi. I think the plan is I'll be around that evening, and then I'm going to pop into the TSN arena and have a look at this Square Bast GT that's going on that day. Do a quick hello. Well, I really know many people there, but I think I'm going to pop in and have a little look. And then grab some lunch and then drive home. My wife is away with the kids until Easter Sunday lunchtime or so, so I'll have a bit of time to chill out. I'm tempted to stay away 2 nights, but hotel prices for Easter weekend are a little scary. I stayed at the Park Plaza when I was down last time playing the Moorhide game, and it cost me £80. If I go to the same hotel for this on Good Friday, it's like £180, which for a 3.5 star stroke, not quite, maybe 4 star, but it's probably 3.5 star hotel, that's quite pricey. Let's see. Just to do in time, next month will probably be a lot smaller, lol. I'll be getting ready for a fight in a castle. Is that to do with the reenacting you do? Or is this, am I jumping to conclusions there? Where does that bit go? Oh, just like that. Just like that. That's going to need to be held for a minute. Yeah, that's right. So is it just something you're doing in an evening or something for you. I'm chatting to Wrath and Ruin for those of you who are following along in the chat as well. So you're doing your reenacting thing. What period is that? And then you're in a castle. I'm guessing here, these are half questions. You're in a castle and then you're playing in the evening as well, playing a game or something against another gamer. Is that the deal? Or I'm destroying what I've stuck together already. Dun, dun, dun. Let's put those bits aside and we find the same bits of another one. So rather than having to think about it, I can just repeat the process. Closest I'll be getting to Nottingham will be Sherwood Forest later in the year. Yeah, I seem to have been at Nottingham more times than I've been for ages in the last few months. It's been good. Whether it's taking the son up around his birthday or playing Mordheim and going up for the Old Mod Open Day. I love it there. I haven't been there enough that the novelty's worn off. So I love going. I'm definitely very lucky. I know that you guys overseas don't get to experience that. I suppose it's give and take though. I mean, the guys in the US, you get your big conventions and things that we don't get. Do I like this one, or I want to go for the same as the other one? We'll go for this one. All right, mate, how's it going? Yeah, it's. I started on time this time. We didn't have any failures of technology just yet. I mean, you've missed out on all of the actual rambly stuff at the moment, and I'm just now hanging out doing a little bit of building of my latest project, which is rushing to get Warriors of Chaos 2,000 point army finished for a game on Good Friday on the 29th of Warhammer World. So I've paused my Bretonian project because it was no way I was going to get it finished in time, and started a completely new one with the hope that it's going to be a quicker painting project. And I think it should be. It's significantly less miniatures, at least 20 less miniatures, and definitely less complicated paint schemes. So I'm hoping that will get me out of the trouble I was in time-wise. I've never got the train into Nottingham. It's like, where you getting the train down from, Steve? It's a long journey. Raph and Runa do Viking Age reenactment. Oh, fantastic. A local castle, Ostermouth, has had once a year for their opening day. We fight, talk to the public, chop up veggies for the kids, and then get hit with sharp weapons. Sounds brilliant. Sounds brilliant. My son would love that. He's 9 and 10 this year. He's just started doing Vikings at school for history, and he's very excited about it. In fact, we took him up to Jorvik a couple of years ago, and I think he liked it. I think he was also a couple of years younger, so I think he's a little bit scared going around on the little attraction, the little ride thing. I thought it was brilliant, but he was a little bit scared. But then the wife wasn't up for going in the armories, which I haven't been, so it really annoys me. I want to go back. I love York. I've been a few times, but still never made the armories. And no horned helmets. Liverpool, yeah, I can imagine that. takes a little while. I mean, if you go down the weekend, no doubt you get hit with bus replacement services on the Sunday, which seems to always be the way as well. I used to commute in a previous job. I used to commute every day on trains, and I love trains, I love being on them, but I didn't like the stress of having to use the train service, which, for those of you who are outside the UK, it's not always the most reliable. Yeah, Lisa, I was trying to talk my my wife into doing the armories when we were there, but she wasn't up for it, and it's fair enough, I suppose. It was a holiday for all of us, but I'll try and work on her and get her to relent next time we go. Which I don't know when it will be, but can't miss it a second time. I think she'd probably let me. What am I doing? Here we go. Done the Jorvik Viking Festival 3 times now. Yeah, I just love it. So what does that entail, the festival? I'm guessing there's just lots of events going on over a weekend or something like that, or a week. The only thing I do locally, living in Gloucestershire, the Tewkesbury, the battle on the weekend for that is very, very good. Well worth a visit if you're ever in the area. The reenactors are fantastic, and they put on a pretty good show, and there's lots of other stalls there and things as well, so it's almost a bit alternative fair. So I suppose Americans would call it like a Ren Fair, Renaissance Fair kind of thing. It's got a bit of that feel to it as well. You can go and hang out all day and just drink cider and things if you want to, but being with the kids, so we don't tend to do that now. But get nice food and spend too much money on swords if you really wanted to. They have I don't know what this is called now, because forgive me, but the guys that almost have turned fighting in armour into a modern sport, and there is a name for it and it eludes me at the moment. I don't think it's always super popular with reenactors and vice versa, but they have some of them doing shows and things as well, and you can usually do archery and stuff. There's just loads of stuff for the kids, and if you're a man that's into soldiers and war and weaponry and things, it's always a really good weekend out. And I know there are lots like that. We're not too far from Evesham, and I know there's a very good event there each year as well. You learn the lesson: weekday travel. To be fair, if I can get up to Warhammer World, I prefer a weekday as well. I like when it's busy there, but I prefer it when it's quiet. It's just really chill then. It's quite quiet when we went and played the Mordheim that day. There wasn't many people there. Obviously, it was so busy the next day. It was crazy. But so I do like both. But if I'm playing, I prefer it when it's quieter. I like when you can kind of spill over onto the next table with your stuff, rather than having to worry about sort of not bumping into other people all the time. And as Dan will tell you, the guy behind him was crop dusting him a little bit when we were there. There wasn't many people around, and the smells get worse when it's full. Wrath, just go up for combat on the Saturday. That sounds cool. Ben or Svengar, when I lived in London, we used to catch trains and buses. The buses all seemed to travel in packs with long gaps in between. Hopefully they've got better since then. There is a saying over here, something along the lines of, you wait ages for a bus and then two come along. So that sounds like what you're describing. Some of your group do that one. You're talking about the talking about Tewkesbury. I think we're doing Evesham. Maybe I'll look at Evesham this year. So I've still not done it. I love anything. My perfect days out with the kids is an English heritage place somewhere, especially with warm weather. It's just something about it. It reminds me maybe of being a kid and going on school trips, or going out to like a battle day like that, when you can sort of wander around in the sun and get a drink and have kids have an ice cream and things. Just love it. It's my favourite things to do with a family. Now I'm looking for the sprue with the wheels. There we go. It's here. Anyone got any ideas when GW AOS will restock? I'm looking to expand my Beastman army before rebasing for. Is it really bad? Is it really? I know there's a lot of stuff out of stock all the time across all ranges at the moment. It seems, Neil. But no, I have no insight. It just seems to be random. And the only thing I can stress to do is to genuinely hit that email me button if it's stuff you want. Because through knowing people who work there, and the message from people who work there in that side of the business is do hit it. They do look at that data. It's not just it's not there just to placate the customer. They do look at that data, and if enough people are hit and email me, and then when they stock it up, they all sell, and then they hit email me again, that data is really useful for them, and it will help them make decisions about what to stock. So hit those, and then be quick when you get the email. I think it was about 3 times the Tomb Guard restocked when I hit that, and they were out of stock before I got it, but they just kept coming into stock, back into stock over the course of a week, and I've got my box now. It's still sitting there with the cellophane on it, but it's definitely worth doing. There's also someone in the main Old World group as far as I know, they're not an influencer program. I mean, they're quite negative at times, but they were showing off all of their some of the new Toonkin stuff that went up on the last pre-order. The one that I've got the Foot Knights coming for, and that seemed quite early. We've got another week left, haven't we? I think it's not due out to the 16th. Oh, it's this weekend, is it? This weekend they're due, maybe. That'll be interesting if that turns up. I have to not get distracted by them if they do arrive. But I ordered mine direct from GW, so I'm not expecting them to arrive on time at all. Expecting them to sort of arrive almost midweek next week, but you never know, I might be pleasantly surprised. So, Marathon Road, big show in Malmesbury, Wiltshire on the 21st and 22nd July. That's close to me as well. So I'm just north of Wiltshire. Let's see what I'm doing that weekend. 21st and 22nd. Is it 20th and 21st? Unless it's a bank holiday, isn't it? Is it bank holiday the 22nd? I think that's a Monday, July. I don't think I'm doing anything that weekend. And the kids broken up by then? I lose track. Don't know. But that's a potential. I might look into that, especially if I've got days with stuff to do with the kids, because my wife works on the weekends. Get the kids in a car. Right then. Battle Days Old Siren, going back a few years. Yes, I am planning on making Crackon. I'm playing Old World. With Matt, that's the plan. It's in my calendar. It's in our family calendar, so it should be. There's no reason I won't go, other than the family emergencies. I seem to have had 2 out of the 4 years. Well, one family emergency and one bout of COVID at the wrong time. But yeah, the plan is absolutely to go to Crackon and play Old World. And I'm really looking forward to it, because having missed last year. Yeah, 20th and 21st. I might you shoot me a message later or tell me about that one. I might get that planned in. I'm interested in your reenacting stuff. Going to your local GW, it shows that stock. There's always a box. Yeah, there's quite often. It's like the Chaos Warhands are temporarily out of stock at the moment for GW, but there were quite a few around, and I ordered some from Wayland Games, and they had one left in stock, and a couple of other stores had them. So there's bits around. You just almost have to Google the stock and hit shopping on Google and find out where the hits take you. It's definitely not easy at the moment. I do hope they resolve the stock issues. There are rumours about things they're doing. I think some are true about, unfortunately, limiting some stuff to friendly local game stores, which isn't great for them. But controversial opinion, if you can't stock your own shops, you probably wouldn't be sending it to third parties. If I was in charge at Games Workshop, I'd be thinking you'd make sense to keep it for yourself, but hopefully that doesn't become a habit of theirs and they decide to just limit stuff because it's easier. I'd much rather they resolved their stock issues. It still makes me laugh, the amount of people that there's genuine artificial scarcity of these products. It's pure. They definitely build FOMO. It's a different thing, but that's into your marketing. But to actually not have enough stock most of the time, it's because they've just under projected, and or they can't manufacture the stuff quick enough, or the new warehouse system is still causing them problems, I think, as well. Those things are far bigger factor. I just hope they manage to resolve it and aren't just happy. The problem is with a company the size of GW, it wants, it's got its shareholders and it wants to make sure that it's profitable each year. But you can make too much profit as a business because you just got to beat it the following year, and then it puts pressure on your share price, and then your shares price falls. If you set yourself bigger and bigger targets, you're better off with a slower, steadier growth than this kind of exponential growth. And they're very scared still after the drop-off they had after the bubble burst for Middle-earth, that sort of first time round. I still think we see the legacy of that now, and if they, with all the troubles we feel as consumers of it and frustrations we feel, if in the boardroom they're hitting their sales targets, they probably feel differently. Their main customers are their shareholders. We don't have to like that, but I think that's the reality. They come before they'll start worrying about the customer service side of things in terms of how upset we are and not being able to buy things we want, and how frustrated when we give up and stop buying stuff to the point where their sales drop and then it affects their shareholders. So it'd be a vicious circle. I say that with not much greater knowledge, but it just feels that's the way things are. What have we got? So look, cracked on. Definitely. Crack on for me will no doubt be just the Saturday morning, because it's leaving my wife on the own with the kids for 2 nights is a bit more of a stretch. So I'll probably go up on the Saturday morning early, but I'll definitely stay the Saturday night for the curry. But I miss out on the Friday fun, which is a bit of a shame because it does look good fun. And if it was in the summer, I'd potentially stay somewhere, because I'll probably come up in my camper van, my VW camper van. So I would potentially come up and stay the first night, come up late, stay the night in that, and then stay the second night in a hotel to keep the wife happy, so I'm not spending too much money on hotels. We'll see. But I think it's more likely just going to be the Saturday night. Yeah, the projection team must all have golden tickets with how bad stock levels have been. Yeah, they struggle for a number of reasons, but I don't think it's just the people doing the projections either. I think the whole culture around how projections are done and the rules of which they project to factor in. So it's just not a matter of people not realising how popular things would be. It's about that culture, I'd argue, of super risk adverse, and making sure that they don't get left with too much stock of things and they'd rather sell out. I'd argue, and I think it's quite plain that it's to the point of ridiculous now, but also they've got so many games that they just can't keep up with the demand, and that's just grown and grown since COVID, and more and more things. So they're struggling with their own success at the moment. I think it seems quite clear from the outside. It might not be, but it seems quite clear they need more manufacturing facility, and I think they've got space to do it. The comments in their investor documents would suggest that they don't feel they need to yet, but they're ready to when they need to. But how quickly that would happen, I don't know. But to me, it feels like they should be looking to do it already. There's a few things they could do. They can stop calling pre-orders, and call them early orders or something or other. So you manage the expectations a little bit more there. But again, just having enough stock so that when something new drops, it's at least in stock for a couple of weeks. I appreciate stuff selling out. That's a good sign, but you just want people that really, really want to get it should be able to get it. I love the idea of some people can't afford it on release day. They've got to wait till the end of the month till payday or something. I think that's a very normal thing to do. And with so many releases, it puts pressure on people financially as well to maybe make decisions that they financially shouldn't be doing because they know it's going to go out of stock. I don't think GW do that maliciously, but it's definitely the decisions people will be making. Thank God they don't have like Klarna or something on there. Can you imagine the state people will be getting into, the debt people will be getting into if they had to do it that way? It'd be awful. Making it supplies direct from... Yeah, the problem with not buying direct from GW, you're still giving them money, Rath. They don't mind you buying from third parties, and the discounts that third parties offer are not losing GW money. They're still buying it at the same wholesale price. And I don't think you're ever going to get a movement of enough people to stop buying things from them that they'll send it out to third parties, because they still send out stuff. It's just some things won't be available, and you won't get it. It's a nice idea, but you'd be better off having a lot of people sending the same complaint email. How you organise that, and whether you get enough people. You see these surveys in the UK all the time, but the petition type survey, petitions, not surveys, petitions. If someone got one together saying, please, can you be open and honest about the issues you've got with production and keeping stuff in stock at the moment across all ranges, I reckon you'd get a lot of sign-ups for that. I'm not going to start it, by the way, but I reckon you get a lot of people signing up for that petition. You've got to be reasonable with it, and that's the problem. You need someone sensible to write it. But a petition that just says, please, can you listen to us all, and that we just want to be able to buy stuff. You don't want people to start going on about price and things. So that you make your choices there. But in terms of having stuff in stock, can you please make enough stock for people? And if you're struggling, just be honest to communicate that a little bit more. I was talking to different people about it. So I remember back at the end of the Tom Kirby days, we went through a dark period, I think, where the communication with GW used to be really bad, and the relationship with the wider community was poor. And it got really good for a while. Warhammer TV came along, and everything seemed to be a bit rosier. And I think that slowly started to slip a little bit, and people like Peachy and Duncan and that had left over time, and then we've had the Only Hands thing. He says with Only Hands on the screen, but and it looks like they're starting to put people's faces back on the screen a little bit now. They need to start crediting people again, but I feel like we're moving into a dark age a little bit again, where there's no communication or openness with us. With any other company would be putting out comms, a lot more comms, and being honest with it and saying, we know we're struggling right now with keeping stock in. This is the reason we are working on it. We expect you to see it better by X time or something like that. But I don't know. I don't get the impression that's the case anymore. I get the impression is they're just going to keep on doing what they're doing, and they sell enough to make the money they want for their targets, and that's it. And the rest of us just have to put up with it. That's just frustrating. I'm hoping that they are aware of it and they are looking into fixing it. Because for me, that's a far bigger problem than the price of their stuff. Because we can all decide whether we want to go alternative stuff or not. Now I'm single, I can do the full weekend. Well, sorry to hear that, Gary, but also at least there's a
added bonus for that. I think if I did the whole weekend, I might end up a single, and that would be expensive. Wargames Lantern seem to have taken the right approach. They backed off releases for a year while they improved production and got stable levels. Yeah, I mean, it seems sensible. I'm not sure. I mean, Wargames Atlantic aren't on the stock market, are they? They're a much smaller company, and I think Games Workshop have got themselves in a position where they're on a roll, and money talks and sales talk, and they've just grown quicker than the sort of the manufacturing side of the business has, and that's where we're in the trouble. So it's, you're almost telling them to make less money for a couple of years, but yeah, it would be sensible. I'd love to see, and I think a lot of people would be happy to see their main games slow down a release schedule. I think we're on a 3-year release schedule at the moment, aren't they? That dropped to 4, especially now Old World's around. That would be good. I don't think they'll ever do that, but that would be one way of taking the pressure off a little bit, is to drop that, all your main games release schedule down to 4 years. It also means they could get all the army books out for all these particular games, so you not end up buying your last 40k for codex, not that I buy it, but the last 40k codex the 2 months before the new edition's out, and the codex is suddenly useless. It'd be nice to have like the year 4 where there's no codex releases, or less, more campaign releases and things, and that are kind of more generic, so people don't feel ripped off, and then focus on a different game so that they're on alternative years and things. There might be the way they could do it. Again, the problem is 40k makes them so much more money than anything else, that how can they do that without having a worse year? It's just they're just in this sort of relentless cycle of having to slowly grow year on year, and that means putting out more and more things to keep up. It's really interesting listening to, if you watch Jordan Sorcery's channel, go and watch the interviews with Alan Merritt when he talks a little bit about why they sort of did the dirty to fantasy, and then also his first name, and somebody Wells, the ex-chief executive as well on GW, and just super insightful and super interesting, and you kind of get an idea around why they make the decisions they do. Not to buy from GW Rec just because I want 21% discount. Yeah, I mean, I will buy third party nearly always, unless it's something new that I want to guarantee I get, and I'm worried that the third party won't get. So there's a lot of the Old World releases, for example, but other than that, I don't spend a lot of time buying from Games Workshop. And I also know that you probably get stuff quicker from the third parties as well. So when I ordered my Legions Imperialis, I ordered one individual box from Element Games that arrived the Saturday of release, and then I ordered all the other stuff from GW, which took ages, which is a pain. But I feel like if I order it from Games Workshop, and you click on and you manage to complete your order before everything goes wrong, generally you get it, you know you're going to get it. It's not always the case, but I know some of you in the chat had problems with your own Old World releases being a bit late. Don't be sorry, you're glad to be read. Well, I'm glad, Gary. I'm glad that Single Life is treating you well. Yeah, Steve Harbour, how they did the last Lord of the Rings box was a great. I thought it was brilliant, and at the time, I remember saying it when we were still, Dan and I still doing the Out of the Frying Pan podcast. What a great way of doing it, doing a very long, for those of you who don't know, when they released the latest edition of Middle-earth Strategy Battle Game, they did a really long pre-order. I think it was end of September, the initial pre-order. And the people that ordered then were, I might get the dates wrong here, got your stuff in December. So it was like a 2-month wait. But the general release was going to be in December. And if you ordered in December, then it would be like a normal wait period for them. And it was just a really good way of, I suppose, of them gauging interest and getting an idea of how much to manufacture maybe, or just buying them time to do it and prepare. And I thought it was a great way of doing it. And I kind of hoped, I remember saying it, I kind of hoped they were going to do that with the Old World. And maybe some of the specialist style games, that would actually be a smart way of doing it. Or how much better would have the Legions launch have been, aside from the delay initially because of reprinting the rulebook, but how much better could that have been? Because I think the new supplement went out of stock. I was away on holiday and it went out of stock straight away, so I haven't ordered that book. I will want it. I think you can buy the digital, but yeah, I'll worry about that when I need the book, I think, but it seems a shame. Hi Gary, any real to sort out stock is reduce releases or increase production? Yeah, I think they probably need to do both. Can't see how they increase production without opening a new site. It's not constrained like the current one. Yeah, and apparently they've got some land to do it, so I think it will happen, but I do fear that things will have to get worse before they get better. And it's taken them so long to even get this new warehouse facility working for them. And I think that some of the delays and some of the problems with shipping and orders have not been stock levels. From what I've heard, they've actually been issues with the new system for picking and packing orders and things. And I might be wrong there, they might fix that now, but I think it's still causing them, and there's new computer systems for it as well, I think it's still causing them issues as well. So that all comes along the same time when they're struggling to keep up with demands anyway. And then you've got all the other world pressures, because some stuff does still come over from overseas, especially books and things. And shipping is a challenge around the world at the moment for a number of reasons. Yeah, it's fun. It's all fun, but it's also just toy soldiers. And for those of us who play lots of games, and like lots of things, there are always companies out there you're going to be all right with. I did notice that Warlord Games today were teasing pictures of boxes for Oxtron Panzer as well. That looks like that's on the in production. Means I'll have to chat with Kieran at Warlord Games and see. So the set I have for painting, I think I'm allowed to share that with you guys, is sort of just the tanks at the moment. They didn't have the full starter sets or the British Army starter when I received them. So as far as I'm aware, I should be receiving those in order to sort of do a proper review as well. So it might be closer to actually getting my hands on a physical rule book and things like that. So that'll be good, and I will bring you content on that as soon as I can, so I can do a proper unboxing and look at the cards and things like that. I'll definitely be doing it. Yeah, IT system issues. It sounds like they go cheap with their IT stuff, doesn't it? The state of to be fair, the website now has improved loads. Definitely improved loads, but I know what you mean. IT systems shouldn't be that bad. Shaggos, I suppose. Yeah, I'm with you on the Warlord thing as well. I know people knock them as well. I think a lot of people knock Warlord are from the historical community who, for some reason, feel that they are Games Workshop-ifying the historical games market. I take a different view. I think that they're offering an accessible way in, and without them and without Games Workshop, the historical market would continue to grey. That's me greying myself, but would continue to grey and would slowly kind of fade away. You need these things, you need these new companies, times change and all the rest. Doesn't mean that everyone has to like their games and or like their miniatures and play them, but to appreciate where they sit in the market and what they do for the wider historical games community and the wider gaming community is a really important one. And then they produce a lot of games, they have a big range of things, and they do keep it in stock very well. And they stop and do games that you just wouldn't see otherwise, or they'll be from very, very small companies. I mean, Judge Dredd games and things like ABC Warriors, we are very lucky to have those games, I think. I don't think they're hugely marketable, especially things like ABC Warriors, but because they have the license, they're able to do them. I'm not sure that a small independent would be able to do it the same way. It means that people that like those comics and like those games are able to pick them up. Will they be around forever? I doubt it. But you know, once they're there, and they're good things. All right, find some more horses. No, that's not the right. Well, actually, I don't want horses. I want a gore beast for one of these. Where is the instructions for him? Not there. Here he is. I've been talking for ages now, so I'll give it another 10 minutes or so. I said I was going to do an hour, and we've already done an hour and 25 minutes. Thank you for everyone that has joined tonight. Thank you for everyone who's watching on the replay or catch up or whatever you want to call it. Might be an interesting second half of me just building and responding to messages without always reading out the message. So it sounds like a one-way conversation unless you're following the chat along. So apologies for that. I will get used to doing these. It's only the second stream I've done, and I'm usually obviously used to having Dan with me on the hobby hour, and while we don't do them live as yet, it's a little bit easier when you've got two people. Hi Andy. Sorry you're late. Well, you can go back and catch up with the main part, which was at the beginning, but basically I am building a Warriors of Chaos army. Instead of doing my Brets, which was last week's about, I decided, Andy, that I could know I was going to get the Brets done in time, and I needed an army, and I wrote a Warriors of Chaos list that was going to be a lot quicker to paint, less miniatures, and I thought I'd turn it into a bit of a 2-week challenge to do a whole army. So that's what the first sort of 25 minutes, half an hour of the stream was about, me explaining my my projects and showing what models I've got on my army list and things, and since then I've just started building bits and chatting away with everyone. But thanks for dropping in. I'm sure John Stallard does say you have to be big Warlord fans. I just love what they do there. They're such a nice company. There's room for everything in the historical gaming market. It goes to show how many small companies can still exist. You get variety. Companies like Warlord Games are producing miniatures that people use to play the Lardy games and things. And I love what Lardies do. They make some fantastic games, but they don't produce miniatures, so they're not. It's a completely different business model, and there's just so many alternatives out there. So many small games and systems with people produce them as passion projects, and there's room for it, and I love it. And I just think there's room for everything, and I don't understand why people get grumpy about stuff for a company they don't want to buy for, whether it be that Games Workshop, be that Warlord Games, or anyone really. If you don't like it, you don't have to buy it. You definitely don't need to spend time on the internet complaining about stuff you don't like in groups where people are happily chatting about things they like. It just mind boggles. By all means, get frustrated about a company you do like and a game you do like where they're not doing it right, as long as you do it in the right way. But yeah, I never understood the Warlord hate from people who don't play their games. It seems pointless. Have a good day at work, Ben. Hopefully the temperatures don't get up too hot. I feel very sorry for you there in Brisbane. Well, we're have another drizzly, rainy day, about 7 degrees in the UK probably. But thanks for dropping in. Old Hammer mini painter. Watching on replay for change. Somehow always miss live streams. Yeah, I didn't do a great job of. I don't know whether to sort of over advertise this. I think went up in the Discord, and then I didn't want to advertise too early, and I didn't make my mind up about when I was going to do it until last week. And the problem with me doing these irregular, it's not like it's once a week at the same time. It's always going to be hard for people to jump in and plan. So I wasn't expecting huge numbers of people to join in, and I'm not even sure whether this is different now. This isn't a topic, and I won't always do it like this. I will usually try and do something at this stage of the stream which is still interesting to people, rather than me just filing plastic. But so sometimes it will be showing. I think next time I'll either have a guest on, or have a topic that's painting based, and I'll sort of turn it into a bit of a live tutorial. I think that'll be a fun way of doing it, rather than just turning it into man scrapes plastic while talking to chat. Well, aircon's all good. If it wasn't for Warlord Games, I wouldn't be playing World War II miniature games yet, Jared. That's I think that's the same for an awful lot of people, and I think some people just completely miss that point and how important it is. And it's the same with I mean, how many people of watching this, or whether you're on the catch up or replay, don't play Games Workshop games but started with them. So many, and I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say the majority of war gamers worldwide start with Games Workshop in one way or another. I don't know what percentage, but I'd say the majority. Obviously won't be everyone. I think it would be pretty safe to say the majority do. And regardless of what people think of them, they have a big place to play, and I think Warlord Games is a really perfect bridge to people who are looking to expand. You can go and play Warlord Games stuff and then go and find this smaller ones. Not everyone goes that way. I mean, I went from Games Workshop as a kid to picking up War Games Research Group ancients booklets and things. So it's you don't all have to kind of go down the GW stroke Warlord, who didn't exist back then, route. You can go straight into the small indie games, but the market's different now. Be interesting to see, well, you know, another 20 years time where we're at, and whether how many people got into wargaming through playing Star Wars Legion or Marvel Crisis Protocol, that kind of stuff. There's a lot more other decent sized games on the market that may well drag people over who maybe play card games or something like that. Definitely interesting to see how it goes, but I think at the moment definitely people are still starting at Games Workshop and then finding their way over to historical games, probably for Warlord. Yeah, you're right, James. It is nice just to hang and chat now, I think, and I'm happy to do that. I think the only thing I think about now for me is people coming and watching this on replay now and wondering what's going on and why I'm still, you know, chatting away and streaming. So, but right now, yeah, I'm happy just to chat and stream. But in terms of the product that stays on the channel, I like it probably not quite as sort of finished and nice. I mean, the first 25 minutes was all slides and fully planned, and this is a little less so. And I suppose this is where, if I'm going to do this kind of thing, having a guest on, so at least the conversation is between myself, the guest, who someone else can hear, and the chat as well. So that might be what I do next time, if I'm going to have more of a kind of a rambly second half of the live stream. I might invite someone can come on. You can take it in turns to come on and chat, so at least the conversation is listenable as a kind of a podcasty style thing, rather than just me reading the chat out, which might not be so entertaining a second time around on a replay. Yeah, you're right. At least the stream does go into its own section, so it doesn't just show up as a video. I mean, I want this to be a balance between doing this but also providing content for the channel as well. There is I wanted to do it for ages, but I do also want to, helps me provide content without having to sit and record a video and then edit it, and it's just a free form way of being a bit more, I don't know, being a little bit more accessible to some of you, aside from the Discord and things, and not being so, not that I script properly anyway on my videos, but not being so scripted and controlled sort of thing. You can hear my mind spew a little bit more. Sundancer, not familiar with that channel. I'll have to look, but yeah, I was thinking out loud then, but it might be a good way of doing it, so that if I'm not demonstrating a technique, or I don't have a topic that will last the whole hour or something like that, then having a guest on to come and just hobby at the same time and join in with the conversation could be a really nice way of doing it, actually. So what time is that? I'm going to call it in a moment. So what I'll do now is I will navigate the sprues that I've just thrown all over the floor around me, which means I can't move my chair, and swing them back over to the main camera. And I'm finding my tea that I left behind me about an hour ago, so it's going to be cold now. Nice bit of Earl Grey. Right, so yeah, thank you for everyone that's joined. It's been really good fun. I don't know whether I dare watch it back and see how bad it sounds when it's just me talking at the chat for people that aren't involved in the chat, but appreciate everyone that's dropped in and joined in and listened and things. And there will probably won't be one now till next month. Potentially next Tuesday. I'm supposed to be just chatting with someone on Zoom, but if that falls through, I might decide to do another one of these while I carry on getting my army ready. So that's a maybe. Pencil it in. That's the only evening I've got free, and if I end up chatting with them, I won't do it. But if not, I will get that in, and then I'll look for a volunteer to come on and chat with me, and we can. I've set the stream up on OBS already for Zoom, so should be quite easy to pop someone in, and we'll see. If not, I imagine the next one of these will be after my game. I'm recording with Dan's nearly back in the country. I think he's travelling back today. So there will be a hobby hour. We're going to do a hobby hour next week. I think we're recording on the Thursday now. We were going to do the Tuesday, but we've got the announcement at Adepticon on the Wednesday. So it seemed pointless to put a show out the day before, record the day before and put a show out on the day of announcement and not cover any of that news, especially as there's going to be some old world news in there. I'm going to want to talk about it. So Dan and I recorded on the Thursday, so that will probably be a Friday video or a Sunday video for that week, depending on how big the news is. As I say, we've got the Landship video this Friday, and then there'll be a little video showing off my painting at home kit or something like that, and there's a couple more things I've got planned as well for the rest of this month. The Foot Knights, should they arrive, be a tutorial on those, and I've got the Giant coming up as well soon, and a tank, probably a Cromwell for Upturn Panzer. So there's lots of things on the way, not all old world as well, so it'd be nice if you like the videos, check those out when they come out. But yeah, thank you very much. Hopefully the second half is interesting, and I will continue. If you're not in the Discord, do go and join. I will share this project in there, pictures and things as and when I go. No doubt I'll talk about it on the hobby hour, and hopefully this project works and I get this army done ready for the game with Jordan. I think I've chatted to Jordan. I recorded with Jordan from Jordan Sorcery last night. Recorded Book Club, the latest book club. We just finished Red Thirst, so that will be out. I don't know when he's going to release that. That will be out at some point this month. So I was chatting to him a little bit about that, and we're playing our game, and we're going to do a stream as well afterwards to talk about our game. So he will be a guest at some point on one of these, maybe the first one in April. He'll be a guest for it. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I'll catch you all soon.